Grumpy resting face. Hello there, I'm Tim and he's John, and this is How to Murder Time, a podcast about games and things.
Hello everybody.
Watcher.
Another week.
Watcher is a colloquial greeting in the south of England. Not a nickname.
I know.
We had to make a clarification.
I know.
That's right. I'd been doing that for years and hadn't realised that almost nobody knew what I was talking
Yeah. It never crossed my mind at all.
about. Yeah. I think it's a contraction from watch you or something. I don't
Something
know.
like that, yeah.
Something Middle English. I don't know.
I believe it comes from London.
Probably. Anyway, yes.
We need Stephen Fry or someone.
Yes.
Melvin Bragg.
Or a researcher. That would be nice. Just someone to actually verify that most of the stuff we're making up isn't actually cobblers.
They don't come here for accuracy, truth,
Good.
realism.
Good.
Yeah,
So I've been hiking again.
I know.
Yeah, I thought because, 5 days worth of back-to-back editing wasn't enough for you, I thought I'd just casually throw out another half an hour's worth.
You might be about to forward reference a joke which I'm not sure is in it being published yet. But go ahead anyway.
I don't know. Well, anyway, yes, so I've been back about a month from my North Devon hiking, and
Spoilers, he survives.
I survived, yeah.
Spoilers, there's a whole month of those videos coming.
And I was all restless and agitated, and so I thought, I think it was about like Thursday afternoon, and I thought, sod it, I'm going to go and do the South Downs Way. And so sat there at the afternoon work, just looking at Google Maps and planning bus pickups and train timetables and stuff, and gone. Yeah, so how's that for lack of preparation? 3 days and a bag, and I'm just gone out there. I got a feeling I'm going to go completely native eventually.
I think you are.
Yeah, so the South Downs Way, that's the one that goes from Winchester across the South Downs to Eastbourne via Brighton.
It's quite nice.
Yeah. So I figured I'm going
I
to
spent a lot of time in my childhood on the South Downs.
Yeah, well, I figured I'm going to do it in winter because just for the
Why
variety.
not?
Yeah, well, it's a relatively mild and tame route. I'm unlikely to get swept out to sea or killed off a mountain or something. Well, apart from the cliffs at the far end. Anyway, so I thought, okay, I can use that as a kind of just to keep in hand. Don't want to get all soft before May when I'm going to start doing the coast path again. So I've got a bit of video and stuff for that as well for you to edit.
Yeah. What was the weather report?
The weather report was a yellow warning for dangerous winds.
And so you decided to walk along the tops of
a
really
load of
high
hills.
hills.
Yeah. It was really awesome, though. I'm not going to go on about it lots today, but I did survive. Spoilers. And it was really great. I almost got physically picked up off the hill at one point. It was fantastic. It's like 50-mile-an-hour gusts.
There's usually people up on those hills doing stuff like parascending and using whatever it is.
Not today, there wasn't. There was a load of mountain bikers, and they were all having trouble.
Yeah.
But it was fantastic just being out in the raw elemental majesty and fury of weather.
Nice.
Of Storm Brian.
Yeah.
Brian! So, yes, I did that. That was good. And I might just sort of keep doing that over the Saturdays and stuff.
It's not a hard one, really.
Well, it's not too technically difficult compared to the North Devon and
What
stuff.
is it, a week?
Well, yeah, 100 miles, so I could probably do that in about a week's worth, but I don't want to do it in one go, because I don't have to take time off work and actually do a camping and stuff. So
The next thing you know, you're in Eastbourne and no one wants that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I can do that on a weekend. It's near enough to where I live that I can bus and train it and do it as a series of day trips over normal weekends without having to make any special plans or go camping, so that's nice.
How bad is the train back from Eastbourne?
I don't
Do you
know.
have to go via London?
I don't know. I've done the near end first, so probably I'll have to think carefully about how the transport's going to work for more distant parts of it. But anyway, so I've been doing that and playing games as well. Do you want to hear about some?
Not really. It's the walking that's the most popular content on the channel.
I think I might be turning into a hiker. Yeah. I think we have to completely retool the whole concept thing here. Hiking and wargaming miniatures. It's a kind of strange hybrid podcast thing. What, just going to ditch the computer games entirely, are we?
Why not? Everyone else.
I have played some. I'm going to talk about Warframe.
Again?
Still playing. Well, it's interesting because Plains of Eidolon has dropped. This was the big...
What's that about then?
Well, this is the big open world
plains?
area. No, plains as in wide rolling plains.
As in rains on.
Yes. I don't know. I haven't seen any weather. But yes, it's a large part of Earth, as it turns
Okay.
out. Sort of high prairie, scrubland sort of hills
Whereabouts?
with a bit of I don't know. According to the map, it looks like it's somewhere in the Mediterranean. I don't know, somewhere in North Africa. But then we're talking sort of millions of years in the future.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's it could be anywhere really. But yeah, there's a little pinpoint on the thing. So you get this outpost place called Cetus, and you land your little spaceship there and go off walking around, and that seems to follow the relay format, which is a kind of social hub in orbit around other planets. And you can see loads of other players in all their weird knobbly warframes with bright colours on all around there. It's quite an interesting little village. There's lots of NPC villagers all going about their business. It feels like quite a bustling sort of place, which is quite nice. And there's occasional spaceships landing in the background and stuff as well, and giant transhuman super ruins in the distance, all being dismantled and attacked and stuff with pickaxes and stuff. They're like scavenger, almost post-apocalyptic feel to it. Scavenger culture living in the base of this ruin.
Okay.
There's a whole load. There's a new faction rep and grind, of course. Yeah. There's another like 10 or 15 resources to grind and collect. I mean, the game in general has a fair reputation for being quite a grind fest in general, but I haven't really noticed how it being that painful, because the basic gameplay is so much fun and I'm enjoying that at the moment. But so yeah, there's a whole load of new materials to go and collect. There's a whole load of new rep and bounty missions out on the main planes. So that's your sort of hub area. You can talk to various people to get bounty missions, which is essentially a kind of chain of 3 different tasks to go off and do out there in a row.
Okay.
And these tasks involve going out onto the main plains area, and that is the new bit. That's because I didn't really know anything about Warframe, but I was seeing they were making lots of noise and news about this Plains of Eidolon thing coming soon, and it's now here. You can have a look.
It is now soon.
Yeah, they made it so that you get funneled. Apparently, you get funneled in there quite early on in your sort of leveling and so on. You do the introductory sort of chain of missions to learn, out of the character creation and stuff. And then during that, you end up sent to these planes to have a look around. So brand new player now would get to see it relatively quickly. It isn't. Well, it is and it isn't. You can go there and you can take part and you can go and have a look and wander around. But it's not scaling. I mean, it is an instance. I haven't seen any other players out there. So, in theory, you should be able to see lots of other people out there doing their thing. But every time I've gone out there, it seems to be just me. So, I don't know in what sense it is the traditional MMO open world or whether I'm just playing at odd times or not seeing people, but yeah, very like, and it's a real liberation because most of normal Warframe gameplay takes place in a sort of series of very corridor-based missions. It's all room after room after corridor. You're all on a space station or an underground base or some sort of floating gas refinery in Jupiter or whatever. So just standing on a hilltop and seeing wide vistas all around you, it almost has a feel of Fallout 3, that kind of distant horizon. And you can see monster, enemy patrols in the distance, and of course sniper rifle. During the drop of this, my sniper rifle got nerfed from 12 times scope to 8 times scopes. Clearly they were having some problems with just being able to sort of
people not engaging with the content.
Well, hit much further than anything could possibly realise that you were there or see. Probably even hitting stuff that hasn't loaded properly, because normally you don't need 12 times scope in these bases because the corridors aren't that long. So, but no, I mean, going out there with a sniper rifle is very satisfying. I always quite enjoy picking off distant targets, but they do shoot back. I mean, I've been engaged with stuff on ridge tops like 300, 400, 500 metres away, and seeing you aggroing that far away and starting to pepper you with machine gun fire. So it can be quite a busy sort of place. I mean, they've got a sort of rolling respawn system going. I don't know if things just appear. I mean, sometimes they probably do, but what often happens is that dropships will fly over and parachute new troops out onto the map, so that you're constantly seeing things happening. And it does feel like quite an interesting and busy sort of place. There's various Grineer bases on various hilltops around the place. They act as kind of focal points for the various sorts of mission that you'll be sent out there to do. And it's got a day-night cycle, which apparently is shared by everyone. It's not just you.
Oh, okay.
And it's like the day's twice as long as the night. I don't know. Like I say, millions of years in the future, who knows what's happened to the Earth? But and when it goes to night cycle, a whole load of really super powerful alien creatures start appearing on the landscape and zooming around the place. And you can shoot. I found out if you can shoot them, but if you kill them, they turn into a ghostly version of themselves, which then doesn't take any damage. So I think I'm probably missing a trick, something there. There's some special thing you got to do probably. And every so often you'll see these giant sort of glowing tree monster type things stomping around the landscape as well, sort of part robot, part tree monsters. And I think those are intended as group content. You're supposed to get a gang out and go after them, and I think they're to do with the very high end bounties. One of the things I've been seeing on sort of various forums and Reddit and whatever is the sort of complaint that it's. I don't know if I'm just reading, the sour end of the internet. You have to take
the only end of the internet.
you take it all with a pinch of salt, but there's a general feeling that this whole Planes of Eidolon thing hasn't really hit the spot, because it's interesting. Certainly for a brand new player, it's the whole game's brand new, so you're not necessarily looking for anything different. If you're a veteran player, apparently there's not much reason to go out there. The bounties give out certain sorts of high end weaponry that are not that great, apparently, or I don't know. It's like they've introduced it far too early in the progression because they want everyone to have a look, including brand new players. But most of the grind work is for collecting things that you're not going to need until right near the end anyway.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's hard to see what people are making of the whole thing. There's fishing. I've not found the fishing yet. I've seen there's.
Have you tried water?
Yeah.
Does it need a special suit?
I can't swim. No, I don't know. Well, if you go in the deep water, you're not teleported back to the shore as if you'd fallen off a high ledge. But there's an NPC in the village who sells fishing spears, and I can probably buy one of those, but I haven't got enough spare cash for that yet. So
wow.
I know.
How expensive are these bits of wood?
I can't remember if it was faction rank or money. There was a little 50,000 whatevers.
Wow.
Possibly credits. The trouble is I'm always burning all my credits currently building blueprint weapons and Warframe components at the moment, so I just don't have that spare money. I don't know if that fishing rod it's spears. It's all fishing spears rather than your fishing rod.
I believe that fishing with spears is illegal.
I don't know. Well, it's the far distant future, so that's probably fine. So, yeah, they have got fishing. There's some sort of mining thing, apparently. I've no idea about that. Again, there's all weird new resources out there. I quite like the outdoors, but it's hard to see where it slots into the ongoing narrative adventure that is the sort of whole business, the Tenno and the Grineer and the Corpus all going at it across the whole solar system, and various threats from the outside going on in the sort of story missions. And then and here's a bit of Hillside. Okay, there is a story bit that comes with it, and a new Warframe that comes with the whole package as well. This Gara Warframe, which is all based on crystals as its sort of motif and theme. And you have to go out into the plains to find various bits and do various things and deal with ambushes to get the pieces for it, apparently. So yeah, it comes as a quite self-contained sort of package, I think, and it's interesting certainly. But I don't know, everyone's sort of raving about, finally this, what's essentially a 4-player lobby shooter, PvE lobby shooter, is suddenly going to be transformed into a traditional MMO. And it got me thinking about, well, why do people really want another 3,000 other people in their game at the same time as them? All of those old questions sort of surfacing, and people going, it's going to be brilliant, it's going to be like a proper MMO now. No, you don't want a proper MMO really, because at best, if you get exactly what you're asking for, you're basically, like, what you've actually done there is add another 2,999 competitors for your spawns and loot.
Yep. I remember the days.
Oh, Northshire Abbey on a new World of Warcraft server, yeah. Those kobolds' lives are measured in seconds, usually.
Take a number.
Yes, please.
My turn.
Please wait for the spawn. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Random strangers in the MMO are nice. It's nice to have a sense that there's stuff going on, and generally that sort of role is fulfilled by a thriving general chat. But even then, they tend to get turned off quite quickly when one or two prima donnas decide to seize the attention of everyone else. So you're left with gaming with friends, and most of these games do support that, including non-MMOs that are peer-to-peer or LAN game style stuffs, whatever. Any game where you can form a small group and go 4 players or 12 players or 8 players into an instance and do a thing together, that's gaming with friends. You got group finders, I suppose, if you're determined to meet new strangers. But just the idea, it's a very old style aspiration from how MMOs originally were. Something like Ultima Online, where you've got like thousands of sprites all stood around the court with Lord British putting in an appearance, and it's just pandemonium and chaos. I mean, who wants crowds on purpose? Anyway, so it does sort of add a new aspect to Warframe, but I just wonder, it's got that feel of a sort of a new experimental feature that people say they wanted and are quite interested in, but not that fussed, and will probably go away from quite quickly, go back to
One
the
of
normal
those.
thing. I don't know. We'll see the state of it. They got, apparently their big long-term plan is to add one of these on every planet. So obviously they've started with one on Earth to begin with, and then sort of work it perhaps back into the level-based progression a bit more seamlessly. Because you go out into this zone, and what they've done is it's not scaled to you. It's not like, Oblivion or something, because it's apparently shareable with lots of other players. You can find levels 1 to 30 creatures in the zone, depending how far out from the gates to the village you go. So you can find areas where it's suitable for all gameplay styles, but if you get sent too far away on your little bounty mission, you suddenly find yourself stumbling into areas that are probably quite a bit heavy going, especially when sort of very large numbers of machine gun and long range gunnery type troops are suddenly on the scene, and they will start hosing you from a very long way away. And that's good, that's realistic. I mean, something like Fallout or any of these supposed open world games, a lot of the creatures won't even notice you're there until you're within about 10 to 20 metres, despite you having seen them from a quarter of a mile away.
Some of them are apex predators too.
Yeah, super mutants and what have you. Yeah, exactly. So, but no, I mean, they've interestingly not done that in this game at all. This stuff will aggro you from a very long way away, and you just suddenly hear this rattle of machine gun fire, and you have to be taking plinks on your shield, and it's quite a challenge to find out where it's all coming from, especially because they've gone with quite a sort of, it's not lush verdant, it's quite dry scrubland, but there's a lot of bushes and foliage and trees and things about the place, which makes it quite hard to see compared to the sort of traditional rectilinear corridors that you're used to playing in. And so much of Warframe is about melee combat. I mean, yes, you've got guns and you can use them, and that's all very fine. But Warframe's like the Excalibur, who's got sword specialisation, or just any melee type characters are going to have a bit of a trouble with this, unless you can also combine that with very high mobility. You can apparently launch your Archwing thing, the jetpack you use for some of the flying around space missions or underwater missions. Apparently you can use those in there, but I haven't worked out how to do that. I think you need
Press F.
You need a special thing from your guild's dojo.
Is it a large catapult which you have to put yourself back on and let go?
Well, there are geysers. I've managed to find sort of jetting water coming out of the ground, and if you stand on that, you get catapulted up quite high. But you can't glide down again, which is a shame. You tend to just splat. You do the bullet glide, sort of slow motion thing anyway. But yeah, I don't know. I like it. It's interesting. I'd be interested to see where they go with it, but it doesn't really impact on me a lot. I suppose if I wanted the new Warframe, then I'd have to go out there and do a lot of stuff with it. But I'm still, chipping away at the early ones you get from farming early planet bosses at the moment. So much more interested and fascinated with the quests, the main storyline in there. I've gotten up to Neptune now, and that's unlocked another quest in there called The Second Dream. And I don't really want to talk about it extensively because it's hugely spoilerific. But it does a massive... It's about 4 or 5 chained missions where big, important things happen. And it suddenly reveals and explains so much of the inexplicability about what's going on and what the hell is these Warframes all about anyway, that you sort of come out the other end of it thinking, and it was really satisfying as well. I'm coming out the end of it thinking, that was brilliant, and I found myself welling up a bit during some of it as well. It looked quite emotional. It was really good, really surprising as well, because you're just thinking, lobby shooter, just charge in there, space ninja wizards, whatever, hack slash the shinies. But to sort of see that kind of narrative it suddenly show up, that far in. I mean, the story is a bit few and far between. A lot of it is just go do the planets in the order the little pips show you on the star chart. But every now and then you'll get a quest appear, and suddenly something quite significant seems to happen as well. There's another one coming up a bit further on called The War Within, which I think probably is the third part of this main ongoing massive story. And I've been really pleased and satisfied with it as well. Normally you just think, whatever, a bit of, generic, troporific hero fluff. But this was really interesting. It really sort of answered a lot of questions, and everything sort of suddenly clicks together. And you're thinking, no. So it was really good. I really liked that a lot. Really appreciated it. But trouble is, you've got to get quite far into the game to get there. So whether folks are going to stay the course to have all this stuff explained. And so far, I got there. I surf around. I do quite a bit of research and stuff around on this stuff. And so far, there've been an almost universal agreement amongst the community not to spoiler this thing, because I had no idea what any of it was before I got in there. Despite cruising various forums,
people being nice.
Yeah, exactly. There's it's like everyone was so impressed with it that they wanted not to spoil it for anyone else. So that was really good. I got the Rhino Warframe and the Frost Warframe. I'm sort of experimenting with both of those. Trouble is, I'm still falling back to the Excalibur Warframe for the serious stuff, because it's for starters, I've learnt the game using it. Yeah. So I'm at my most powerful and competent using that one with all the maxed out guns as well, as sniper rifle and the relevant sword. You use a different sort of sword depending on which types of enemies you're going for because of the damage type thing. But yeah, it has to be a sword if you're going to use Excalibur, because you've got the bonus.
I want to ask how that works.
Different sorts of there's a radiation sword and an electric sword, and if you put the right kinds of mods in, they can do corrosive damage or toxic damage or whatever. Radiation sword. Yes, it's a strange place, the distant future. So, but I'm enjoying it a lot. So yeah, still going with it all. I think I've just about set another Warframe building. I've managed to farm all the parts for it. This is the mag one. Apparently, there's all sorts of levitation and electromagnetic powers. That'd be interesting. So I don't know. They do present as alternate classes, but you still get the same basic melee and gun battle gameplay regardless of what Warframe you're using. So it's more of an accent than a completely different gameplay style. But it's interesting seeing how they compare. And I got the start of the Octavia's Dream Quests line done. That's a sort of optional one that slots in halfway along. That's the one that eventually will lead to the Octavia. I was talking about the one with the sequencer where you program in the music. Yeah. So I've done the quest that unlocks the farmable components for that. I'll get there eventually. But the quest, the mission itself, I don't mind spoiling that one. It's really good. It was basically, so you're finding these bits of this music scattered around the solar system on these ancient musical instruments, and you need this music to prevent the corruption of one of the AI things that's helping you out by one of the elder horrors from beyond. And the final section is you going inside the AI's mind into a simulation mode and fighting in there. But what happens is the actual bit you're fighting in is the sequencer. So suddenly you're on top of this sequencer, and you're the size of one of the notes, and it's a huge jumpy puzzle exercise shooting down incoming aircraft while you're trying to jump around on these notes to program in three-dimensional space using your own body.
I like it.
The sequence, yeah, it was really good. It wasn't too difficult either. It was quite forgiving in terms of falling off the thing, but there were sort of aspects of Tron to it, and I just really enjoyed it. But yeah, you're literally building the music, because I don't know if you've seen screenshots of the actual the UI for it. It's essentially a kind of wheel with an arrow that rolls around with the bit that plays it as it goes through.
Yeah.
So this level, in the level you're actually doing it on, it's a giant disc of blocks, and each block is one of the note, and you need to jump on and then jump off and jump on to turn it on or off. And there's this giant sweeping arm going all the way around, playing the notes as it goes over. And if it hits you get sort of knocked back and stunned. So you have to jump over it as it sweeps round. And meanwhile, you're trying to deprogram discords that have been set up there and program in the correct notes based on the markers it shows you. You don't need any musical talent to be able to do it, but
that's lucky.
You need to be quite good at jumping though, and I really enjoyed that one as well. So really enjoying Warframe at the moment. There's lots of interesting things going on there, and seeing a lot of these different Warframes still ahead of me, and many, I think, after they got their main bulk of the game up and running and people playing it, I think when they start beyond there, adding new Warframes tends to come with a new quest and a bit of a mechanic and a bit of a gimmick, and so there's the capacity now, if you jump in there, to unlock various different Warframes in ways other than just fighting the boss at the end of each planet. Cool. And some of them are quite fascinating, quite interesting. I did enjoy the musical one quite a lot. So yeah, still going. Good. I think I will keep going there. I got some platinum. I gave them some money. I bought some. I put about $5 worth in, got some platinum to unlock slots for Warframes. So it seems fair. I'll just keep chipping away at that until I lose interest, I expect. But yeah, quite a novel experience for me, paying a free-to-play game. I know I should do it more, but I don't know. I just had this. I've gone into the whole free-to-play era with the sense that I'd paid my dues before then, but I suppose that's no way to maintain companies who make things I like, so probably ought to get more involved.
Yeah.
Anyway, over to you.
I'm going to talk about something that I realised during the week.
All right.
There I was, dealing with the fact that if you have certain Windows 10 things, then it will constantly download updates to them at the most inconvenient time.
Creators update or something, is that
Now,
the
in this
thing?
case, it was Play Anywhere games.
Oh, right.
More accurately,
ecosystem.
one of the Forza games, which was updating because they're big and it just wants to do these updates. I had to install Gears of War because it kept doing it as well. But while I was doing it, I was poking through the Windows store. Do you know Windows has a store?
Yeah. Sometimes there's this green icon with a shopping bag on the desktop that you have to delete on the weird Metro menu, because it keeps getting in the way.
And apparently, in the times where it's updating Calculator a bizarre number of times for whatever reason, there's continued development on Calculator, and I don't know what they're doing.
That's yeah. You'd think that would be a solved one-shot problem.
Yeah.
It does sums. It does mathematics. Tick. It shouldn't really require
Enabled numbers above 100.
continual patching for like multiple hundreds of builds.
Anyway, I discovered that
Yes.
there's a lot more Play Anywhere games than other games that I've got unlocked on the Windows Store than I thought because of the 360 and
So what is
Xbox
this?
One.
You buy a game for an Xbox One, and
Yeah.
then you go to a place and register it, and then you get a free version of it on Windows? Or
Nope, you just buy it
Yeah.
and then it turns up in the Windows Store.
Oh, okay.
And what I did, I had a look and stuff like Thimbleweed Park. I didn't know that was multi-platform in that way.
Does that work through Steam purchases from
No.
Windows?
No, it's only Windows Store.
Yeah, but it doesn't log your stuff.
No,
That
it doesn't touch Steam at all.
So presumably on PC you can buy it in the Windows Store, and you'll get sent a free Xbox One copy of it.
Well, no, it unlocks it on both. Or in this case, it had unlocked it on both for me.
Okay.
So I bought it on Xbox,
Yeah.
and the PC version was just sitting there waiting for me to download.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, if you're buying it on an Xbox, you're doing it through their store
Yeah.
anyway.
And if you buy it on PC, you're doing it through their store.
And if you do it through the PC, okay.
With the same account, because it's your Windows account.
Oh, okay. So it said Play Anywhere is a sort of fancy dandy name for basically multiple platform. You can have it on each.
Yeah, so I
Okay.
played through a bit of Thimbleweed Park on
quite
PC.
good.
Works with a mouse. Who knew?
It's a Monkey Island clone. Of course, it works with a
Spiritual
mouse.
sequel.
Spiritual successor.
Yes, spiritual successor.
Yes.
For
Yes.
legal
I would
reasons.
imagine it would work.
Yeah, it
on
worked
PC.
really well with a mouse. It does work well with a controller, but it's really good on PC as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to buy it on Steam at some point because I thought I'd like to play it with a PC, and then I've discovered I have it.
So they've cunningly tricked you into using the Windows Store and knowing it now exists.
Yeah, there's a Keflings game on there as well that apparently I had multi-buy because for some reason I don't know.
And
I had it on
since
360.
You're in the Windows Store anyway, why
Yeah.
not have a look at these deals? Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't bother with that. I just went to the my library and
where's my
everything
free
that was
stuff?
available,
Yeah.
and then the massive list of applications which aren't available on this platform, which is all of the Xbox One stuff.
Oh, right, okay. So it's not hugely widespread then. As presumably the game needs to have existed on the PC as well anyway. But
It has to exist on the PC as a Windows Store version, which is
Right.
slightly less likely.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah, it all worked fine. I don't actually have a problem with the Windows Store anymore. It just works, apart from the fact you can't schedule downloads to be at a specific time,
Does that-
or tell it to not use up all of your bandwidth while you're trying to watch a movie.
So the Windows Store updating individual products, is that all bundled in with Windows Update?
Yeah,
Oh.
well, sort of, yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that could get a bit hectic if you've got a very large amount of games installed.
Well, if you've got a 100 gig game, which is then going to do a multi-gig download for a patch, and decides to do it while, say, you're watching Netflix on a different computer,
yeah.
and it just uses all your bandwidth because nothing's clever enough.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the one thing I like about the Steamware doing it is that you can spot that that's happening and just shut Steam down.
Yeah.
But Windows Update, especially with these modern versions of Windows where you don't really
Well,
have much control
you
over
can go
it.
into the Steam store and tell it to pause.
Yes.
Into the Windows Store and tell it to pause,
Okay.
and that will pause it. But you've got to know that it's going on in the first place.
Well, yeah, it's,
So
it's
quite
all very
often-
behind the scenes Windows Update nowadays, and it does tend to.
It's like
do it
with our
itself.
Minecraft recordings. Very often there's been a bit of a slowdown, and I've realised it was because Gears of War was updating for reasons. Because apparently that time on a Thursday night is when they do the update.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you?
Mm.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. I got lots and lots of games I didn't know I had
Well,
on
that's
PC.
a nice courtesy, but I don't think it would drive my purchasing decisions. I think I'd still buy in Steam rather than a Windows Store because, well, for stars, I don't really use.
The
an
reason why I was
Xbox.
doing it was I wanted to use. There's a couple of all of the last Forza games work on PC
Yeah.
as well as on Xbox.
Yeah, I mean, for someone like you who's quite a involved console gamer, this is probably very good because it means you just don't have to buy stuff twice as much.
Yeah, it means that, one, there's a PC version in that case, and two, that I can just sit down on my PC and play when I'm waiting for a video to render or something, which is quite good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I approve of most of it, and I like the fact that I got games I didn't know I had on PC.
Cool. Oh, that's excellent. So I'm going to talk about Elite Dangerous. We're doing the Tuesdays. It was Imperial Eagle Wing this week.
How much singing?
It was brilliant. We were all basically, so the Eagle is like a fighter ship that's one step up from the newbie ship.
It's not very good.
Not well. It depends what you do with it. The Imperial Eagle is a slightly tricked out version.
Still not very good.
You got the Federation and the Empire in this game, and the Imperial Eagle is the sort of the Empire's version of the normal Eagle. It's slightly faster, but not quite as manoeuvrable. It has a medium slot instead of 3 small slots, so a medium and 2 smalls instead of 3 smalls. So,
does it have the power to deal with that?
I think it gets a bit hotter than the other thing. But so we went and bought all the Eagles, full A-grade stuff, because we're actually quite successful with all our community goaling and general gadding about. And most of them play a lot of the times, not on a Tuesday as well, and have quite big bank balances and tend to fly around in anacondas and what have you. So we thought it might be just a fun thing to grab a really cheap, small, disposable fighter ship, and we'll all wing up and see how we do. I think we got 6 people in the end. That was quite good. And there's a couple of us with different engine trails as well, so that helps greatly. So yeah, the Imperial Eagle's all white finish with the neon, sort of blue neon underlighting, so that's quite good. And yeah, I was going with twin beam lasers and a missile launcher in my medium.
Okay.
So I was sort of helping finish stuff off, and we were basically just using sort of swarm and shoal tactics on. I think we went into the sort of weakest, lowest resource site. It has the resource sites around ring planets, basically the small asteroid field. Lots of people mining, lots of pirates come in, and these are all NPCs. Lots of pirates interfering with them, and bounty hunters and stuff, and we'd sort of decide to plunge in and try and claim some bounties and see what we can bring down. So yeah, the normal research site, I think there was one Cobra Mark III turned up once in the 20 minutes we were there, and we just totally hailed it to death. So yeah, we were a bit overpowered because they were all A-grade gear, and also quite a lot of us have been substantially engineering the bits and pieces in these Imperial Eagles as well. So I think I still ended up with about a 200,000 credit rebuy. So yeah, so quite a lot of good gear on the thing, but it's just seeing what can be done with the small chassis. So we ended up in a hazardous resource site. That's the most dangerous of the resource site places you can go. I mean, there are more dangerous things to be doing, like conflict zones and such like. But in terms of just sort of general basic PvP, hunting down pirates and stuff, this was probably some of the hardest stuff. And we were fighting all sorts of stuff. It was crazy. We were managing to sort of piranha our way onto anacondas, and I think there was a Python. There's various ships, federal drop ships. They were quite challenging because they're manoeuvrable enough to give us a bit of hassle. The anacondas, which is like the biggest ship in the game, they were okay. They weren't so bad because they got a lot of turrets, but they seemed to be distracted by us sort of dipping in and out, coming in and out, and so on. I mean, we had 2 wings sort of taking turns to try and go for the kill to get the bounty money off of it all, but we were also helping each other whittle stuff down. And with the anacondas, we were having a fair bit of success going for subsystem targeting. If you press Y, keep tapping Y, you cycle through the components of the ship. This is what you're supposed to do if you need to go, if you get like missions where you've got to liberate cargo from certain targets. You don't want to blow them up. Well, you can blow them up, but if you shoot the cargo hatch enough, the cargo flies out. So if you shoot...
Top tip. Tie it down.
If you shoot the power plant, aim for the power plant, you can basically make your big target dead in the water if you kill the power plant. And often the power, depending on the sort of weapon you're using, apparently cannons are very good for this. If you... because it is literally a tiny square box appears on the target, on the reticle, and you have to keep hitting it in that tiny spot. And I think you might even need to hit it from the correct side of the ship as well. So yeah, that makes it a lot more challenging, particularly with fixed lasers, because you've really got to aim, and that's something I want to try and improve, is my fixed weapon aim. And yeah, if you keep wailing on the power plant, eventually the thing will just stop. It'll be dead. It will just stop firing back, stop flying. You can shoot out its engines and it won't be able to move so much, or you can shoot out individual guns. That takes quite a long time though. Or you can just don't target a subsystem and just wail on it and blow it up, in the traditional manner, hit point wise.
As you do.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think the trick we quite quickly developed the sort of bait and switch sort of taunting type thing going on, where we just take turns. Whoever's actually firing at gets the hell out of dodge or boosts past it. I think with the Imperial Eagle, I mean, the Federal Eagle is very much about outturning and outmaneuvering, and quite nippy and just flying, running rings around it. With the Imperial Eagle, it's more of a jousting type of thing, because you've got very fast afterburner and lateral strafing thrusters, but not quite so good at the turn. So I found that what worked well to keep me alive was just afterburn at the target and then just strafe slightly past it.
Yeah.
So you just disappear from the other side, and then it has to sort of turn and do a big loop to try and find you. And by that time, you're ready for another go. But stuff like the Anacondas, the huge ships there. It was just a question of working out, oh God, has it seen me? It's me, and then just burning away whilst the other two members of the wing carry on nailing it unopposed, you know. I mean, the Anacondas are tricky because they have got turrets on all sides, and I'm pretty sure they are capable of shooting at multiple targets at once. It's not just, I don't think they just, you know, it's a question of taunting it and then everyone else can act with impunity. But we were sort of doing all right. I mean, we'd typically got 1 or 2 kills and then we'd have to go back for repairs for the nearest starbase and stuff. But I think we only lost one ship all night, which was pretty impressive. It was the Vultures. They were the nightmare. So the Vulture's very sort of midway up the scale. It's not a massive ship, but it's not a small fighter either. It's like a very big sort of quite hefty sort of gunship, effectively. I mean, there's a Federal gunship itself is a bit weaker and more easy to take out, a bit more guns on it. But the Vultures just had so much shields and hit points. And one of the downsides of us, as you know, taking the stupid little comedy fighter ships is they don't have very much output DPS in general. No. They've all got small weapon brackets. Even the medium gun isn't great compared to, I don't know, even the Diamondback Explorer, which isn't really a combat ship. I think that's got 2 medium weapon slots and 2 smalls, something like that. So yeah, it was really good though. There's, you know, just watching everyone swooping around with the coloured engine trails, and it had that real high octane sort of Top Gun Spitfires type sort of feel to the whole thing going on. I was trying to make sure, you know, we were trying to sort of fly in wings, but you know, keep close to each other, act as actual wingmen, try and go in some kind of formations, but that all fell apart pretty quickly. It was more of a sort of everyone just darting in and out as a sort of cloud rather than sort of going past in threes and what have you. So we didn't quite get the red arrows display team formations I was hoping for, but it was surprising. We were surprisingly effective. I got about 1 million's worth of bounties.
Not bad.
Well, not bad considering the ships. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, okay, anyone can cash their way up and get into some kind of fer-de-lance or whatever and just go sort of farming bounties. But to do it in these tiny little ships, working as a team, you know, the instinctual teamwork mechanics of it weren't necessarily. I mean, we were trying to sort of work consciously as a team, but it's something that you just sort of end up dropping into a pattern, because you can see on the little radar you got the different coloured blobs. Yeah, triangles means the guns are out, squares means no guns out. That's fair enough. Then you got the different colours. Purple means someone in your wings aggroed them, but they haven't aggroed on you yet. And then when you attack them, they change from purple to red. And the red ones, yeah, they look red, fair enough, but also they flash red, white, you know, when they're actually shooting at you. So you can if you pay attention to the radar, you can see which one. You know, presumably you've only got 1 or 2 targets at a time, unless you're in a conflict zone, in which case things get pretty hairy. But so you can see of the red triangles that are there, which one is the one flashing red and white. Well, fly away from it, and then everyone else is attacking ones that don't have the red, white. So that sort of works as a kind of, you know, unspoken tank and DPS type arrangement. We got no healer in this game. I mean, there are certain engineered modifications you can do to some of the guns which make them heal friendlies when you hit them.
Not sure how that works.
It's science, I expect. But those are quite
firing blue tack.
Well, they're quite fiddly, and also I've just had no luck or success I think in general people just don't have much luck or success in games where healing requires targeting.
Yeah.
Where you've got to aim at the person you're going to heal. I mean, I think I remember Tabula Rasa had that kind of mechanic, and it was a really hard work. These injector guns, which did lots of healing, great, but you know, if the rest of your team aren't staying still, you're having as much trouble as they're having hitting the enemy, you know. So, and I think there's been various other games where that's been the way. I mean, there's a reason most normal MMOs just, you know, it's F1 then mash the heal button, you know, so that it's an always targetable. It won't miss. It'll always hit hit the target, because you've got enough going on balancing health bars as it is. You don't want to have to also be the best fighter pilot in the wing just to be able to get the healing done. So we were basically just soaking up the damage and bugging out for repairs at nearby starbases when needed. So doing various sorties and stuff. It was really good. Really, I like that as a way to play. But we'll park those Eagles up. We'll go back to our normal ships, do other stuff. But they'll be there. They'll be ready. And any time we fancy a bit of a giggle, we'll probably do something similar again. Just jump in them, go to the nearest war or whatever and sign up. We haven't tried a conflict site in these Eagles yet. That's going to be crazy, because conflict sites are basically where you got about sort of 20 or so NPC ships split between two different factions having a fight between each other, and when you go in there you declare for one side, and suddenly half of that radar goes red and half of it goes green. And it's, if you know what you're doing and you're careful, you can survive in there, but it is a hell of a maelstrom. And if you get if you get in too close or declare too close to the middle of it, or a lot of them will all target at once, and there's not much you can do about that. Even if you're in like super duper Corvettes and Anacondas and things, you just have to get the hell out. So they're quite tricky, but resource sites are better, but then obviously they don't pay as well. So, but yeah, it was really good to just try that as an organised thing. Let's put aside our normal stuff, and here's the concept night. That comedy build Eagles night. These comedy nights are fun, but they're very, because they're sort of so unusual and quirky, and also very disposable. I mean, our rebuys were ranging from sort of half, 50,000 to about 200, 300,000, depending on what bits and pieces we got in there. And we were all much more wealthy than that. So it just didn't matter at all if we were overstaying our welcome on a particular sortie and getting blown up, because it was all part of the fun of it. I mean, be cross if your Anaconda gets blown up. That's a lot of work to replace. But these Eagles, we were just basically spending money, really. And that's the kind of liberation that comes with not having to grind your arse off. You can suddenly just enjoy, just have the fun. You're not risk. No risk, no reward. That's my favourite way to do it. I don't care if the pay's lousy. The point is that we don't. We can just let rip and try dangerous things, try arsing about, and if it all goes wrong, we've lost nothing. You don't have to spend the next 15 weeks shuttling food from one planet to another just to pay for it all. So more games like that, I think. I think I'm turning into a very casual gamer these days. Yeah. So that was good. We'll be doing that again. I don't know what's next. I think might try some trading stuff again. I think might do some of that. So we're sort of chipping away towards these various engineer unlocks, but beyond that I don't see any particular goal. So we'll keep chipping away at it while it's fun.
There's all of the new stuff they've announced going to come in.
New
planets, new stuff.
There's a big old roadmap of lots of things to do. I quite like the sound of the fleet carrier type thing, because that's already in game, but that's not a standardised mechanic. As a sort of special case to this Canon Interstellar group of players have got their own outpost. It's effectively a starbase that jumps between star systems on a schedule. And apparently, I think the idea is to be able to turn that into a more non-GM administered mechanic, so that any guild squadrons is going to be a thing. That's going to be a sort of platoon, wing of wings. We'd like that. That would be good.
That's way overdue, I'd say.
At the moment, your group size is 4, and you just have to sort of muddle through if you've got more players than that. And we do. We have 2 or 3 wings on the go, and we just try and coordinate. But you are essentially kill stealing from each other's wings, so we have to take turns in doing more damage than each other, and it sort of
weird
works.
That there's absolutely no organisational support in there.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's a single player game that seems to have accidentally added a ton of multiplayer features. I think that's what's happened there. They sort of built, like you said, the minimum viable product on launch was, let's recreate Elite but with modern technology, and they did. Elite was always only ever a single player game, but then there's all this networking code that's largely magic, we think, that is essentially peer to peer. Which seems to still somehow support about 30 odd players in a star system, but just how about 4 wings connected together? Perhaps a bit of UI work to make that useful. And yeah, that way we wouldn't have to be sort of sharing kills and taking turns and whatever. We could all work together properly. But then I suppose if you're going to have squadrons, you need some squadron level content. You need,
Yeah,
which
that's the problem.
sort of starts to say raiding to me, which, I don't know. I'm not sure what that even means in an Elite Dangerous context, but I don't want to see this big drive to more and more ridiculous boss dance fights and special gear at the end of it all, because that ruins most MMOs, I think. But I'd like the idea of a carrier, some base that we can move around the galaxy to the interesting places, which effectively is what this Canon Interstellar's Gnosis platform seems to do.
When you logged out in it, where did you end up?
Oh, it went about 200 light years out of the bubble. So I was in my exploring ship with the fuel scoop, so that was lucky. I managed to fly back. It was going even further next, off to the Witch Head Nebula or something. Who knows where it is now? But yeah, it's quite interesting. Oh, where am I? Okay, right, I better start making my way back then. But that was right, because I managed to do some exploring survey stuff on the way back. It's like catching the train to the start of a long-distance hike and then walking home, I'd like to see more of that. So I'd like to see some kind of mass transport between Colonia and the main bubble. So you got this Colonia concept, which is essentially, it's about 30,000 light years. It's some ridiculous long. It takes a whole weekend for a kitted out explorer ship to get out there. And there's a little mini hub there of developing worlds with various star bases and worlds going on. Basically, just a really distant outpost of humanity. And people, take quite a lot of pride and grit, grim determination in shuttling to and from there as a kind of exploring rite of passage. I've never been nearly that far out. I think I've been about 1,000, maybe 1,200 light years out myself. But this is like 60,000 light years away, something stupid like that. You've really got to keep going for it and use neutron star funnels to make mega jumps and all sorts of crazy. It'd be nice to have some kind of mass transit system, I suppose. If you're going to start putting interesting things very, very far out, that's only ever going to appeal to very dedicated players, I suppose.
Yeah.
Well, perhaps that's the intention. Perhaps you don't want filthy casuals going more than 500 light years away from Earth, but it seems a shame. And one way to do that would be something along the lines of a moving space platform that can make large jumps on a schedule, essentially a bus, and you park up and then you'll get your spaceship out again at the other end, whatever. I don't know. There was lots sorts of things I don't remember half of it. You can Google for the roadmap of what they're doing. I think they're not doing the big yearly release again, like the Horizons Pass. I don't know. I'm not sure what the plan is. I don't know. I probably ought to. We need researchers.
We do, yeah.
Anyway, so yes, that was good fun. I enjoyed that. Still relatively optimistic about the medium term of my involvement in there. Over to you.
Did you see this week that Visceral Games got shut down?
Yes, probably. Who are Visceral? What do they do?
They made
What's the best game?
Dead Space.
Dead Space.
I've
never played it, but highly regarded. Yeah.
They're currently working on a Star Wars game, which looks very promising, which was a single player. I think Uncharted, but Star Wars.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's not that anymore.
Oh, right, okay.
No, yeah. What they've done is they've shut down the studio because they made Dead Space 3 apparently. Stupid numbers here. Which cost like $60 million to make and sold 4 million copies, and it wasn't enough to pay for it.
$16 million.
60.
60.
Yeah, and they sold 4 million copies of a game, and it wasn't enough to pay for it.
Okay.
Which does...
Well, I'm just doing the maths in my head. You need $15 a go to break even, no?
No.
4 million copies, $60 million.
It needed more than 4 million. It needed 6 or 8 million to break even. But anyway, it strikes me that the entirety of the games industry is broken and needs to burn down and be built up again from scratch. Because at the moment, people are making... That's a bit of a leap, I'll give you that.
Citation needed.
Yeah. Because at the moment, companies seem to be making games and they're not having any concern over whether or not they're going to make any money. And from the outside, it looks like this industry has really gone stupid.
Is it the whole free-to-play thing has just destroyed every kind of business model?
Well, that's what that Star Wars game is.
We can only make games that our games will only be successful if we give them away for nothing. Oh.
That Star Wars game is turning into a games as service thing, which means lots and lots and lots of microtransactions and a persistently characters online type thing, I guess. And,
Lock boxes.
yeah, and the ability to keep getting money out of it. Now, I have this weird opinion. I don't know how many of our viewers and listeners would agree. I don't want to spend hundreds of hours in most games. I have a life. I have things to do.
Yeah, I'm
There's
finding
Star Trek on TV now.
Well, I play a lot of games still, but yeah, I don't.
I
I don't play one game like 20 hours a week anymore. No.
I like, and this is a dying breed that apparently doesn't make enough money.
Yeah.
A 12-hour experience that at the end of it I can turn around and say, "Done that," and play something else.
I suppose.
And I don't mind paying money for
A
it.
devil's advocate might invite you to go and just watch films and give up gaming. Because films are universally 2 hours long. You could watch like
Oh,
six,
they are
you could
not.
watch six
They
films.
are not.
Well,
the,
right.
the latest Blade Runner is something like 3 hours long.
Yeah, you say 3 hours long in the context of a film, and as if it's a terribly long experience.
It
Three
is.
hours. That's what.
You sit for a Hobbit film.
That's 4 computer games of the type you're inviting us to go for. The point being is that maybe the niche that you're looking for is already filled by non-interactive experiences like cinema. Like
Yeah, but I get
films.
really bored by films. Films are so... You just sit there and watch them and your brain switches off, and it's not very... games have broken me. I find it really hard to watch films now.
So, yeah. So is this what all these memes I was seeing going around Twitter about everyone, single-player games are dead or
Yeah.
whatever? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Because apparently... I don't get the idea. Why not say this game is going to take 12 hours? We have this budget. We're going to make a game which does that in this budget and then make everything else fit that. Rather than we're going to do everything and be the best thing ever and we're going to do it and spend lots of money on it. And oh dear, we've got to sell 100 million copies of this
Well,
if we're going to make our money back.
I think it might just a lot of it is just Darwinian natural selection in game development. There are various ways to make games, various business models, ranging from one bloke in his spare time doing some indie darling thing that really goes viral, which probably costs him nothing really. You get Unity for free, you get whatever.
Well, it's not quite that simple.
Well, the point being is that you certainly would be able to crack out a relatively quirky and enjoyable indie classic that would take you about 5 to 6 hours to complete for much less than $1 million, I would imagine.
Well,
Probably a couple of $1,000 for tools and development time.
Assume it takes a year to do and you've got to pay your salary
assuming-
for a year. And...
Okay, if we're talking strictly professional, then not people doing it as hobby mods and whatever. So a yearly salary, which is not $1 million a year, I don't think.
No,
generally.
you also got to possibly pay for an office if there's more than one of you.
If you're doing it at home in your home study,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
The point being
that a massive AAA game now has 100 people working on it.
well,
or
that's
more,
if you sit down and say, "I am going to make a massive AAA game."
and which is what they're doing. And no one's making. None of the single player games this year have made any money. They've all failed. Mass Effect failed.
That sends quite a message. Yeah, Mass Effect is a victim of a massively inflated sense of expectation. You go, oh no, the next Mass Effect game. Having seen what Mass Effect 1 was a relatively medium key project, I imagine.
Yeah.
No one expected it to go super duper. It was largely pitched as a kind of Dragon Age Baldur's Gate in space type thing, and off they went.
But Mass Effect 3
But suddenly
came out.
it became this immense behemoth thing, and then suddenly everyone's huge.
I mean 4, not 3.
What? Mass Effect Andromeda,
Andromeda
is the fourth one.
Yes. Yeah, that came out.
Where do we go from here? It's got to be bigger. It's got to be better.
It doesn't.
And
It
suddenly-
just had to be more of the same. Everyone would have been happy with more of the same.
It's the everything must grow all the time forever thing,
No.
isn't it?
You make something good, you keep making something that's good.
suits.
You don't need to make something better.
Suits looked at the figures from Mass Effects 2 and 3 and drew a straight line and thought, right, that's the fourth
Here's
one.
an unpopular thought. Take Call of Duty.
Please.
They don't try and make something better each year, and that has been the most successful game up until a point, and yeah.
Yeah, but it's still a vast undertaking, isn't it?
Oh, it's still a
an
massive
enormous
undertaking.
thing.
But it doesn't try and be something new and different each time.
How have we got to this position then? What drives that? Why are we looking to make big, infinite, grindy multiplayer deathmatch games? Because they somehow are proven to make lots and lots of money.
Because you can make more money. Because you still charge an entry fee to get in, so you still got your full box price.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got your season pass, which is for your levels, and then your microtransaction on top of that to get
all the
fancy
gear and all
and
the skins and all
Yeah.
the rest of it. Yeah. So games as platforms for further upsell is the
Yeah.
way. Yeah. And you can't really. Well, you can try. You see even in single player games, you see this like extra special chapters you get for pre-ordering or exclusive content.
In the Dead Space example, Dead Space 3 had microtransactions to be able to get in-game items.
Yeah.
Single player game.
And people are rightly dismissive or derisive of microtransactions in a single-player game. You see all that fuss around Shadow of War, where people have worked out a way of not having to bother doing any of that.
You know what? If I'm doing it on PC, that's always going to be the case.
So there's not really, you can't really sell microtransactions in a single-player game, and I think the suits they have identified this. They've noticed that, so it just doesn't pay as much to make a single-player game.
It's sad because we've lost the entirety of the middle-tier developers. They all got bought up or went bankrupt.
Well,
and most of them now
does the low tier not percolate up?
Not really, because the low tier is all indies.
Yeah, but do some of them not get very successful and start working
some are
their
getting
way
bigger.
up?
You look at, say, Bithell or people who are annoyingly successful.
Or do they just immediately end up getting swallowed by AAA studios?
Well, the other example, of course, is No Man's Sky. They were a small indie, couple of people team, and then Sony gets involved and they start to look like a bigger thing than they are, then everyone's disappointed.
The massive hype built up around it. Because suddenly everyone was expecting
Another
much
example,
more than it was ever going to be.
Hellblade, it's done by the studio who did the version of Monkey, Odyssey to the West.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Ninja Theory.
They also did a really fantastic PS3 game whose name escapes me and other things, but they just released a very shortish, basically the game I'm describing, which is a single player plot-based thing about a Celtic, I think she's a Celtic lady who has various mental issues and is having a really bad day.
Right.
And it's got monsters and hitting stuff with swords and things.
It sounds relatively meaty, though, narratively speaking.
Yeah, and it's not that long, and it did cost that much money, but it looks good and made them money. But there's just not enough of that, and everything's disappeared, and I don't like the way everyone's giving up on big AAA single-player games, because I used to like them.
This stuff comes and goes.
I don't have time to play. I'm looking at Destiny 2 and thinking, I should be playing that, and then thinking, yeah, but I played Destiny 1 and there wasn't an awful lot of game in there.
It's the game loop, isn't it? If the basic action... That's why I'm playing Warframe, which is guilty of a lot of the sins you describe. It's very grindy, it does a lot of cash shoppery, but the basic moment-to-moment gameplay and the look and the feel and the aesthetics are all sufficiently pleasing to me that I'm continuing to play. I've even given them some money.
Yeah, but you can only really play one of those games at a time, can't you?
And I am, yeah. And eventually I will get bored of it and I'll go away and I'll drop it and I'll pick something else up.
But, I want to play Battlefield... Star Wars Battlefield 2's single player, but there's not a lot of the single player, and the rest of it is just multiplayer.
It's just a tutorial to get you ready to go on the...
I never played the first one because
loop,
there wasn't anything for me. And it just seems like, they're saying it's not making money, but they're not putting stuff in that people want. Not everyone has time to play multiplayer games every night.
What you should do is go and dig out a copy of Jedi Knight, Dark Forces, whatever... That golden era which you are lamenting the loss of. It hasn't gone away.
No, it is all still there.
It's all still there. Head yourself over to GOG.com or similar old abandonware type game companies, and grab yourself a modern fixed copy of that and just relive the stuff. Because this is the thing I think that a lot of the gaming industry has trouble with, is that when a new game is released, all the other old games are still there. No one's taking them. It's not like food. Games don't rot and go out of date and get put in landfill.
That's why everyone's remastering everything at the moment.
Well,
they realise they can put a little bit of work on and they can spruce up the graphics a bit and resell it.
Yeah. Start from the scratch with Halo again or something. I mean, pick out those experiences that you enjoyed in the past, or the experiences from the past that other people remember fondly.
Yeah.
Work on recommendation for abandonware and old classics, and examine and explore why your friends have got those fantastic memories of things you'd never heard of. Try them for yourself. There's no need to just keep following the new, the shiny, all the way through, because, as you say, it's all going to a terrible place, and a lot of it's rubbish.
It's all doomed.
It's all doomed.
Burn it all down, start again.
But all the old stuff's still there.
Shut down all the game developers.
Well, yeah, their purpose is served. We've got like a fine tradition of single player Star Wars games that are all there now, and you can.
And
just
Elite
play
Dangerous works fine, so that's fine. We got a modern Elite. Yeah, that's all we need.
There'll be exceptions. There'll be outliers, and those will be the ones that actually capture people's imaginations and that people go for. There's sudden, unexpected hits out of nowhere. That Player Unknown Battlegrounds thing. I've never played it myself, but it's terribly popular. That's not the standard one a year, EA classic, is it?
No, but that's a small indie who sells an awful lot of microtransactions.
Yeah,
and has a game which is more popular than Breathing.
Well, there you go. We can't know, I suppose, what the next cool thing will be, but a lot of these AAA companies are trying to anticipate because they believe they're some kind of industry analysts or whatever. And they'll generally play it quite safe. Yeah. They'll extrapolate on the things that have been successful in the past, but a bit more of.
Anyway, do you know what my prediction is?
Yeah.
I'm going to wrap this up. My prediction of what gaming is going to be in 3 years' time. One of the big AAA studios is going to discover narrative gaming and act like it's their idea.
These things come in phases. RTSs went away and came back. Space games are there now and come back.
Ish. Oh, I had a look to see what Star Citizen, what state it's now on.
Oh, yes.
I looked at the website. It's very confusing. Doesn't seem to be a game there. I might actually have to go as far as download it.
I think. Yeah, I'm going to set that as homework. I think we need an investigative reportage because you're one of the few people who can actually go and have a look at the thing.
Apparently, there's 3 modules. I have access to 2 of them, and I didn't say which.
Are you one of these Evokai people? There's like some special elite beta tester core that get to see it all first.
No, I'm just somebody who's paid a tiny bit of money. I'm not somebody who's paid all the money.
Okay. Well, yeah, give it a go. I'd be interested to see. I think it's despite
the single player version of that's been pushed back.
Yeah. Because no one cares about single player because you can't upsell vanity and power on that. Terrible times.
All finished.
Give up gaming. Go hiking. Do modelling.
Yeah. Paint minis.
Paint miniatures and go hiking. That's our advice. So with that, you better do your spiel.
You can look to handometatime.com, but why bother? Because it's just about games. Where you can see all of our previous podcasts about games.
For now.
Sorry about that. You can go along to YouTube where you can catch the video version of this and our previous episodes, and also the Minecraft thing, which is so tantalisingly not finishing.
I did a lot more work this afternoon. I think we are go for ignition on the 1 billion per tick RF device.
You know that's not working first time. How are the dragons?
Still alive.
Excellent. Yes, and you could also there's his hiking videos, which are strangely compelling. And the current series you're doing is you walking from, was it Minehead to
Fear and Loathing in North Devon?
To where was it you went from to?
Westward Ho.
Westward Ho, which is. One of these days I'm really going to look and find out why the hell they named that after a book. I don't know, and I've never bothered researching it.
I've got to go back there to start the next leg, and maybe I'll ask.
It's one of those curious things. How do you have a town name with an exclamation mark?
It's just that good.
Yeah, and I liked the map in the first episode. I really appreciated the map. Yeah, and join us next time for more of the same.
See you later.
Goodbye.